Welcome to my presentation of an informal assessment strategy. We have already determined that there is a need to assess, a need to ensure that we have a continuous flow of accurate information on student learning. We assess to help students develop their metacognitive skills. Learning to learn, that's the key. Now the question, what tools can we use to assess? Well, there are many tools used for informal assessment. These 7 tools are used to assess students' declarative learning, the learning of the content of the subject they are studying. From these 7, I have chosen the minute paper. The minute paper is also referred to as the 1-minute paper, or the half-sheet response. Some have even pared it down to the half-minute paper. Why would I choose this particular assessment tool? The versatility. It can be an assessment tool at the beginning of your class or at the end. It's quick and easy. It only takes a minute or 2 for the students to complete. The responses are easy to analyze, so feedback can be instantaneous. The 1-minute paper can tell us, as instructors, whether the teaching and learning are aligned. Did they learn what you thought you taught or what you intended to teach? Did they actually hear what you thought you said? The minute paper can let you know if you need to make adjustments to your course, either in content or delivery. It gives you the opportunity to provide quick responses to student questions, and this exercise allows students to self-assess. Have I learned what I was supposed to learn? What do I have left to learn? How does it work? It's all in the details. You should allow between 1 and 10 minutes, depending on how much detail you have asked for, and if you're planning to allow discussion or provide feedback on that particular day. You may decide that the feedback will be the lead-in for your next class. Begin by asking your students to use a blank sheet of paper or hand out index cards. Write 2 questions on the board or on the overhead. These questions can be about a concept, a procedure, any area that you want to assess. Just make sure that your questions can be answered briefly. An example of a question to ask could be, what was the most important thing you learned in class today? The second question might be, what important question remains unanswered? These are not questions that will allow for simple recall. The student will have to consider what they remember from the class so that they themselves can evaluate what was important. These answers will help you, as the instructor, determine whether or not what you taught was what the student learned. The answer to the second question, what important question remains unanswered, will demonstrate any course changes that may need to be made. After the student has had a minute or 2 to formulate their answers, have them return their responses to you. Provide feedback to your students. You may indicate that the unanswered question will be the focus of an upcoming lesson, or you could take the opportunity to review at that particular time. Like any other assessment strategy, there are pros and cons to the 1-minute paper. On the plus side, there is immediate feedback to you, the instructor, an immediate response to any questions the students may have. The process is quick, which is good because class time is always in short supply. By asking the students for this type of response, you're letting them know that their input is valued. This can also be a way for the hesitant student to pose a question. The process is anonymous. The students will be able to see if their thoughts align with those of their fellow students. This particular assessment tool can help develop the student's ability to integrate information and ideas, develop the ability to see the whole as well as the part, improve listening skills, and help the student to understand concepts and theories in the subject area. Many teaching goals can be met using this tool. The greatest advantage to the minute paper is that generating answers to your question will make the information more memorable. This theory was demonstrated in studies done by Shizmar and Ostrowski in 1998, in which they determined that there was a 6% increase in retention of information when minute papers were given in the last 1 to 2 minutes of each class. This was a controlled experimental design where 4 instructors taught 2 sections each, one with minute papers, one without. A 6% increase in retention of information. That's a bonus. Now, there are disadvantages to this particular method of assessment. I know that preparing your questions sounds easy, but you need to make sure that you're asking questions that you want answers to. The response to questions can get quite lengthy if discussion goes off on a tangent, so you have to keep things in line. Students may get the impression that you're going to make major changes to the course outline or outcomes. Or you may even get answers to the questions, but are they the answers you actually wanted? Like all other assessment tools, there are best practices. For the 1-minute paper, the best of the best practice is to make sure that you ask the right question. Set a time limit for the students to answer and a time limit for feedback. Let the students know in advance what the purpose of this assessment tool is and how it will help them to learn. Use a variety of feedback methods. Have the student answer the questions in groups, or have one student answer one question. Or you could analyze the feedback quickly and agree to provide feedback on the 3 most popular answers. You have to be prepared to act. If you ask your students what question has remained unanswered, they will have the expectation that they will get an answer. Keep the students informed of your plans. Let them know if the answer is coming or if it is a point for review. I have included the sources of my research into this presentation. Please check out some of the articles to get a broader look at the minute paper and its value to you and to your students. Thank you.